Happy weekend to you. It's a big day for Christian McCaffrey. He's getting married today. And it just so happened that yesterday we had the article about him up on The Athletic. The state of the 49ers, the running backs position. Will Kyle Shanahan ease Christian McCaffrey's workload? So we didn't only talk about Christian McCaffrey. We talked about the entire stable at the position group for the 49ers. And there's so much talk about, well, McCaffrey had all these touches last year. He had all these touches in 2022. He's obviously the focal point of that 49ers offense. People are worried. A lot of fans say, well, maybe Kyle Shanahan should find a way to ease his workload. The problem is that McCaffrey is so valuable and such an important piece to what the 49ers do because of how well he does everything, not just one thing. I think it's really important for the 49ers to have somebody in his stead who they can trust just as much from an adaptability standpoint. Maybe not as explosive as McCaffrey, but as trustworthy as McCaffrey for them to feel comfortable giving him a little bit more of a breather. So we're going to explore if that's going to be possible this year. It just so happened that McCaffrey and his fiancee Olivia Culpo are getting married today in Rhode Island. Just so happened that happened the day after the running back position article has come out. So we got some data to look at today. A lot of good stuff. First of all, you could look at the 49ers entire running back room from last season. This is their rushing efficiency from 2023. Yards after contact per attempt. Feel if there's something that the 49ers hang their hat on, it is the ability to run through tackles and physically make extra production happen on the field. And blue is above average. Red in these charts, as you know, is below average. So every single 49ers runner that qualified last year, and that includes Brock Purdy with 39 carries, scored above average against other players at his position. McCaffrey, the best at 3.35 yards after contact per attempt. You know, there's a lot of running backs who don't even have 3 yards per attempt in the NFL, right? And McCaffrey's at 3.35 yards after contact per attempt. Deebo Samuel, when compared to other receivers who do take some carries, it's a really good number, 3.21. Jordan Mason also above 3 at 3.1. Elijah Mitchell slightly above average at 2.9. Bigger sample than Jordan Mason, though, 75 carries against 40. And then Purdy, the quarterback, he deserves his flowers running the football as well. 2.53 yards after contact per attempt. Now we get into the actual Christian McCaffrey profile. And, you know, if you want to see this from the article standpoint, go ahead and check out the link. It is in the description. But McCaffrey from the Field Vision profile, this is really, really cool stuff because you could see exactly where he was particularly good and where he saw most of his usage in the 2023 season. The hot zone in his receiving profile is highlighted here in red. First in receiving EPA on deep passes to the left, that's over 20 yards downfield. 7th in EPA on intermediate passes to the left, and 6th on short passes to the left. The heat zones are coded as such. You can tell they throw to him more often short left than to short right. So there's something about throwing left to Christian McCaffrey that Brock Purdy really likes. Now, there's also something about rushing to the left that Christian McCaffrey, who won the rushing championship last year, really likes. And I think that's big Trent Williams on the left side. It makes sense that his rushing production would be greater to the left than anywhere else. 245 yards right here, 161 yards, which is first just off left tackle. So 245 off very left end for Christian McCaffrey. 172 yards in between left guard and left tackle. 343 yards in between left guard and center. Those numbers rank either first, second, or fourth in the entire NFL. The rankings tumble considerably rushing to the right, where the 49ers had really, I think, the soft spot of their offensive line. Right guard, right tackle, even center, not nearly as good as the left positions, the left tackle position in particular for the 49ers. And you see the numbers and the splits drop off for Christian McCaffrey on that side. So there's a heavy misbalance. He is rushing and receiving the ball much more efficiently on the left side of the field. So if you can balance that out with better blocking on the right, that can make the 49ers better. All right, this shows Christian McCaffrey as a receiver, pass plays only. X-axis, total EPA generated on pass plays. Y-axis, average success rate on the pass plays. Kyle Juszczyk, if we're going to be talking about the running back position, he's got the picture up here alongside Christian McCaffrey. Look at that. Average depth of target is inside the circle, 4.3 yards, which is the highest of any running back in the league. But Juszczyk also has the highest success rate of any running back in the league, albeit a smaller sample size than somebody like Christian McCaffrey. And the total EPA generated on pass plays, really nice for both of these running backs. You want to be in the upper right corner. McCaffrey, even with the 49ers' abundance of weapons, finds himself in the upper right corner. Success rate up and down, vertical axis, that's going to be a rate stat. Total EPA generated, it's going to rely on volume. That's on the x-axis. So there's a reason why Juszczyk, even with a smaller volume of receptions, is so far up here, because y-axis is not dependent on that. But the x-axis is, and Juszczyk generated a tremendous amount of EPA on pass plays, considering the fact that he was a fullback. So did McCaffrey over here, only a few backs in the NFL ahead of him. So this right here, we just switched to another set of data. This is going to include rushing on the x-axis and yards per route run. So it's a receiving stat on the y-axis. Yards per attempt on the ground, Christian McCaffrey led the league. He was also the rushing champion last year, a little bit better, as you can see, than Jaylen Warren. 5.4 yards per attempt, which is excellent. And then yards per route run, that's going to be the receiving efficiency stat. Not many better than Christian McCaffrey. I think if the 49ers had fewer weapons offensively, he'd be up here in the upper right corner because he'd be targeted more. But there are a lot of mouths to feed on this 49ers offense. You could see somebody like Breece Hall. There weren't a lot of mouths to feed on the Jets offense, so Breece Hall was a little bit higher here on the yards per route run, but not as good in the yards per attempt. So McCaffrey in an impressive spot in the top right. You need adaptability at that running back position. Now, finally, these are the splits of Christian McCaffrey running the football last year. Outside zone ranked 5th in efficiency. Draw plays ranked 3rd. Counter plays 10th. Power plays 12th. The one place inside zone, the one place where it wasn't great was inside zone at 71st in the NFL, which I think, just goes back to the 49ers interior line. It's not, obviously Trent Williams isn't the lead blocker on the plays that are inside zone plays. I think that you look at some of the question marks the 49ers have along that front. Interior obviously starts with Jake Brendel, the center, but he's dealing with a knee tendonitis. Who's going to be right tackle? Is going to be Feliciano? Is going to be Burford? We're going to see some version of Ben Barch at either center or right guard. How are they going to get that inside zone better? Because I think that's a portion of the field that you really want to exploit. Teams have exploited it against the 49ers in the run game. Lighter defensive tackles, more pass rush-oriented defensive tackles. You can find weaknesses around the whole NFL in terms of defending the run in the inside zone. And we look at the statistics for Christian McCaffrey. That's the one area where he wasn't nearly as productive in terms of yards per carry last year, only 3.7 yards per carry. Inside zone versus outside zone, night and day difference. I mean, stretching the field, I remember the outside zone runs that, just turned into massive, massive gains for the 49ers. There's that one, I think it was on a pitch against the Seattle Seahawks at Levi's to open the game. Christian McCaffrey wasn't happy because he got ran down there at the end. Brandon Ayuk made a great block there toward the end as well. It was a vicious block. Somebody just put that up on Instagram the other day, and I had a comment on it. But the outside zone is at 6.5 per carry, the inside zone at 3.7. If the 49ers could get a little bit more efficiency, a little bit more productivity from those inside runs, it would certainly serve them well. But the big question is, can the 49ers ease Christian McCaffrey's workload? And for that, we've got to take a look at the entire running back room. And that's going to be found right here in the highlight. Stretches from McCaffrey to Elijah Mitchell, who we showed in the first graphic, to the rookie Isaac Guerendo out of Louisville, previously of Wisconsin. He was actually a wide receiver to begin his college career. Insane testing metrics for Guerendo, but he's only started one college game. So he may still be a little rough around the edges. I think, as far as comfort, vision, just swag at that running back position, Cody Schrader in OTAs, the undrafted free agent out of Missouri, had more of it. And you could probably expect that. He might not have tested nearly as well as Isaac Guerendo, who's absolutely elite, 4'3", 220-pound speed. Schrader's more of a 4'6" guy, but he was the most productive running back in the SEC last year. So then you're saying, well, how did he go undrafted? And it's because the testing scores weren't great, but I think that he might be ready-made to deliver. We'll see if Jordan Mason, who's, by the way, here from the Nashville area, we'll see if Jordan Mason is able to stave off some of these really young competitors. I think that pass protection is going to be key because you need, again, it goes back to trusting the full skill set of weapons if you're going to be able to give Christian McCaffrey real rests. So that way his snap count doesn't get way too high over the course of yet what is expected to be yet another marathon of a season. Obviously, Elijah Mitchell's the 49ers' second best running back, but Mason, Guerendo, Schrader, all those guys will be trying to usurp him. I don't think you could, and Patrick Taylor Jr. too, who, by the way, is a really good pass protector. They picked him up in free agency, was with the Green Bay Packers. I don't think you could think seriously about trading anybody away until you see what you have cooking in training camp with Guerendo and Schrader joining Jordan Mason and Patrick Taylor. But in the past, the 49ers have traded away at some point when they've had a surplus at running back. They have traded away Matt Breida for a fifth-round pick. They traded away Jeff Wilson Jr. for a fifth-round pick. So I wouldn't rule it out, but depth is so important to foster at that position. And you are looking to hit that lottery ticket with somebody who can, it doesn't have to be as good as Christian McCaffrey, but does have to be able to give the coaching staff, Kyle Shanahan, a sense of peace when he's out on the field and McCaffrey's giving a breather if you are indeed going to rest your star. Big time's coming this season. That was a look at the roster. This is a look at the piece that's up right now, so be sure to check it out. It is big day for Christian McCaffrey, getting married and getting ready for a big season. He's gotten paid this offseason too. Contract extension helped the 49ers salary cap-wise, more guaranteed money in his pocket. And, this guy's not even close to 30 years old yet, which is the most remarkable part of everything to me. Christian McCaffrey, when I covered him at Stanford, he was on the young end, and now in the NFL, it seems like he's been around for a long time. He just turned 28. So he's got 2 more years before he hits that age 30 mark, and it doesn't seem like he's slowing down at all. I think he has a sustainable style of play. McCaffrey knows how to not get hit hard. Let's put it that way. The body control is off the charts, and obviously, I think playing a lot of receiver, being a guy who had a 100-catch season at running back in Carolina, doing that can also take some stress off of his body. But that is it. You should go check it out. This is going to be in the description. The state of the 49ers running backs position. Good day to subscribe and check it out since it is a big day for Christian McCaffrey. All right, everybody have a great rest of your Saturday.